Welcome everyone to another episode of Kiwi Talks. My guest today is the founder of the clothing brand Zerofux Clothing. I'm speaking to Chad Nicholas. How you doing, brother?
Hey man, all good. Thanks for having me.
No worries. The first clothing brand, I should say, on the show.
Yeah. Oh, so hopefully not the last.
No, you won't be, bro. You won't be. But being first is always the best.
That's it.
That's it. So tell me how it all started, man. Why you started this thing?
Pretty much, I remember as a kid, I was always into skateboarding, that sort of stuff, as I think most people were. And growing up in Christchurch, so I was in the skateboard scene a lot. And I just always wanted to be that kid that had the new shoes and that nice new tee. And I did get some of it, but not as much as I wanted it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was just something about getting new stuff. And then I sort of went down the normal path about getting jobs and all that sort of stuff. And the more I got into other jobs, I realized how much it sucks working for other people, the politics and all that sort of stuff. So, and I guess I just always wanted something of my own. And I'm not one to really do hobbies. Like, I don't do any fitness. I'm super lazy when it comes to that sort of stuff. Like, I don't like being uncomfortable. So I just thought, I've always liked clothes, always liked art, especially. I've always followed brands like Rebel 8 is a massive brand that I've always liked, Famous Stars and Straps. And I've always followed them and then thought, just why not? I've always been that person who thought, why can't I just do something, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where a lot of people think of it, they think, that could be cool, but nah, I couldn't do it. It's too hard. But for some reason, I've always thought, I'll give it a whirl, and I gave it a whirl. Yeah.
So when you're
just sort of never stopped.
So when you're starting a clothing brand, like what was it, an original idea that you had? Was Zerofux the original concept, or were you thinking of other names? Did you have any idea of what you actually wanted to do, or was it one of those things that you just freestyled?
Yeah, definitely freestyled. When I was I'm 36, when I was about 24, I was with my kid's mum and her brother. We sort of hung out a lot, and he was a tattoo artist, up and coming. And we thought, we'll start a brand. Even back then, it was in my mind, and we started a brand called On Parole Clothing. Right. But the thing was, I had a young family, had no money. I definitely wasn't mature enough. I just thought, this will be cool. It'll be easy. And then when we sort of did that for a bit and didn't sell one shirt, to be honest, I don't think. We were taking just images we thought were cool, getting them screen printed with hardly any money. So when that relationship sort of ended, that left, and I went and got a job. And that was the first sort of play with it, half-assed one, I guess.
Yeah.
Then with this brand, when I finally was like, I want to try that again, there was another brand in Timaru doing quite well. They're not really around anymore, called Backflips. And wasn't my sort of thing, it was all motocross and that. But I thought, why not? I saw them sort of doing all right. So I thought, I'll give it a whirl. And how I came up with the name was, you might remember Jimmy Jackson had a brand, he might still have it, called Cunt, CVNT. I vaguely remember it. Yeah. I don't know how big it went, and he was kind of big at the time. And I thought, man, that's genius. Like, that's really cool. Like, because it's the word that nobody wants to say. Yeah. But it was kind of a play on it. And I thought, man, that would be cool. So then I was sort of thinking about it, and that's how I came up with Zerofux, but with the X. I've seen it around on memes and that, spelling it with K's and that, but I thought the X was way better. Yeah. That's really how I came up with that. Yeah. And I was like, that's it. That's cool. I like it. Yeah.
So do you design any of the stuff yourself, or do you work in conjunction with a designer?
Yeah. So when I first started, I did it all because I didn't have any money. Like, I literally started with maybe $200-300, and then I did some designs and real basic stuff too. Like, it would just say Zerofux and all that sort of thing. And it was all right, but especially lately, you would have seen it doing a lot more graphic stuff. So as I've started to earn a bit more money and the brand's sort of paying for itself a little bit more, I have a designer that it's pretty much 90% done by them now. I'm colorblind, hence why the brand's mainly black, white, and greys. So I never messed with colors too much. Yeah. I would do things. I'd go to Hallenstein to buy a work shirt thinking it was light blue, and wife says, it's purple. Still rocked it, I don't care. But, I didn't want that to happen with the brand and get all colours mixed up. So, yeah.
Ah, yeah. So how do you decide like what you want to print on shirts and hoodies and hats and because is
As
it a
in the
long
designs itself.
okay, is it a long tedious process? Like how long does it
Now,
take you
for
for
most
one
brands,
design?
yeah, man, it could take. I could come up with an idea, and if it's like a graphical one, like say the ones we've just done, so the Mr. Trippy shirt that I just brought out, play on Mr. Whippy.
Yeah.
I literally had that idea. I was like thinking of some Kiwi stuff. And I thought, oh, that's cool. I just emailed or Instagrammed the designer that does it for me. I was like, hey, I got this idea. He's in Indonesia. I was like, in New Zealand, we have Mr. Whippy. I want to make it Mr. Trippy. And I sent him, do you remember, you might remember the insert of Eminem Slim Shady LP, and he has the caravan and the two fat chicks.
Yep.
I always loved that drawing. I was like, oh, let's make it a bit like that. So I was like, sent him that as, I was like, can you do Mr. Trippy and this? And 3 days later, he came up with it. And I was like, oh, it's perfect. So yeah, 3 days. A lot of other brands are months. It depends on the thing, but I'm lucky because I can now, I've built up to print my own stuff. As soon as I got the design, I can print it, where a lot of other brands, you got to go into production and it's months, but I could come up with something tonight and print it tonight, if you know what I mean. So I'm a little bit different, which is how I wanted it.
Well, I suppose you have more control that way as well, when you don't have to go through so many different parties just to create one shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, so, exactly.
How much is the printing machine?
This one that I bought is just under 10K. Yeah. You can get way dearer ones. Like this one I bought from overseas. It was brand new. And I was like, because what I was doing at the start was printing on vinyl. Actually, this machine here is a vinyl cutter.
Oh, so
what it does is I could do, say I wanted to have just a Zerofux logo and it was just white. It will basically cut it out and reverse it. I heat press it on. And that's really good. Awesome. It got me first maybe 2 years into it, but the quality's not there, and you're limited to what you can do because you can't do heaps of different crazy colors because it's literally just like a cutout, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that for ages, and then I was like, it's not really. I brought out one or two colored designs. Like I brought out one that was like a magic mushroom, and it said something like "in your mind" or something like that. And that sold hard out. I was like, oh, well, I think this is where the brand needs to go. It needs to go to colors, graphics. No one that I know of in New Zealand's doing a lot of that. Illicit used to do that stuff heaps, and that was really cool stuff. I think they do a wee bit, but not really. Like Huffer and all these brands are just doing Huffer, well, because their brand is big enough for that. So yeah, I thought that my brand would stand out if it was graphics, if it was colors, if it was and people, especially with like the Mr. Trippy stuff and the New Zealand stuff, I want people to sort of be like, that was cool. Like the Pinky and the Brain one I brought out, people to think back to their childhood. Yeah.
Yeah. Because clothing...
Try to get a bit of feeling behind it,
I'd imagine clothing brands, they're one of those things that you build up over time. It's a slow burn. I mean, I know a lot of people that start a clothing label and I don't think they really realize how much time and effort is involved. Yeah. And then after a year or two, they're like, oh, hell with this.
Yeah. And I knew it was going to be hard. But to be honest, first year, I probably didn't sell anything. I maybe sold some stuff to maybe some mates, and I was sending stuff to Camo MC, trying to get the brand out there, and it was all just costing money. But I was trying to see the long term. But it's really difficult, man. It's a saturated market. Everybody, especially now, because brands like mine and other ones are starting to pop up and do okay. Everybody's like, oh, I can start a brand, and which is what I thought at the start. So I mean, no hate there. I was like, oh, I can do it. But I think you've got to, you need to understand how long it takes. And it's not even about the clothes; it's the brand itself. It's about people really feeling that brand, and that's what takes time. And have that feeling. You think it's something that you love. It's not even the product. It's that feeling it gives you. So I think that's what takes time, and I'm still building on it now. I'm going 4 years, and even now, just coming into the stride, I've changed a bit. We went from how to just crappy little logos to full graphics. Now into that sort of bring out some releases to go back to like cartoons and that sort of thing. So it's even now I'm trying to find what works. It's there's no overnight success, and I've seen a lot of brands come up and go because they think they'll just put a shirt on a website and it sells, but you got to get the traffic there first, man.
Yeah, well, that's right. I think it's pretty smart in how you did it, because you approached a lot of the hip hop dudes and stuff to try and wear it and market it for you. I mean, it wasn't
even on purpose either. Like, it just came about. Like, the first person to ever hit me up was on Twitter. I got our first Twitter. I was thinking, oh, that'll be cool for a clothing brand. Twitter's a terrible idea for a clothing brand if anyone has one, because it just doesn't. Nobody can relate. Twitter's good for dissing Donald Trump and, like, you know, just whack news, but it's not great for a brand. But anyway, I had this Twitter, and I got this. I got followed by a guy called Ruckus Garvey. Do you remember Misfits of Science?
Yeah, bro.
And they had that song "Fool's Love," and they had the big heads, like the sickest song. And I was like, "What the hell?" Like, he was like my third follower or something. So first thing I did was like, "Yo, if you want anything," I didn't have anything, but I was like, "If you want anything," and he was like, "I'm always up for free stuff." And he wore it in video clips and that, and I was like, "Oh, I'm always into hip hop and that sort of thing." So that was as soon as then I was like, "Oh, this is the lane I need to go in, hip hop." And then just randomly, Camo hit me up. I, to be honest, hadn't heard of him, even though I'm a Christchurch boy. And then I met Ryan from PhD and all these different people. And it just evolved. Like, I didn't go out seeking these people.
They came to you.
Yeah, and we met mutually even. You know, we just met on Facebook because I saw PhD were hip-hop artists and we somehow became friends, and then we hit each other up. And just real organic, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, there was no real seeking out. Yeah.
That's cool, though, because I know a couple of the dudes who've come on this show in the studio and they're rocking your gears, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. When you see that, it's kind of cool because you kind of don't, when you get an order, it's just an order. But when you actually see the person behind it, and that's what I try to build, because that's important, is the people that are supporting you. Because, I mean, they could go buy a shirt of a well-known brand for what I charge. But I think there's so many people want to support that smaller brand. And I'll be walking down the street in Timaru and someone's wearing it, and it still buzzes me out. And I'm not a massive brand, but it's still cool, you know? Yeah. And it's cool when I see that. I see someone on your podcast. I'm not sure who it was. I think it was from One Outs. It wasn't Dealer. It was someone else wearing, like, the blue,
Tracer. What do you mean, Tracer?
ZF logo. Yeah.
I think it was Tracer.
Like, yeah. Damn. Yeah, you know, like, so yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah. And it sort of makes you think, man, I have actually sort of made a dent, even though it doesn't feel like it sometimes, you know?
Oh, I think you're quite well known in hip hop now. I definitely think that's the case. I mean, I'm personally a big supporter of New Zealand brands. I don't really get it when I see Kiwis rocking like New York caps and LA caps and stuff. Yeah. You know, and rocking all that like New York, and I'm like, dude, you've probably never even been there. Like, it's interesting how marketing is so key to a brand. You know, it's so key. Yeah. I remember. I mean, sorry, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, like, look at your things like Supreme and these brands. It's just a hoodie, a Gildan hoodie, for example, which is kind of the lower hoodies, and that's the brand they use, and they're selling them for $300-$400 just because of the brand. It's kind of amazing, really, but like, it's amazing how they've done it, but it's also kind of sad too, you know?
Yeah, I think people get manipulated or brainwashed into thinking the value of a brand is worth that much. So like Beats by Dre, right? Those headphones actually aren't even that good. There's like way better brands out there. But just due to the marketing and the way Jimmy Iovine marketed it, you know, having all these celebrities and big names rocking the headphones, they made it cool per se. So then all these people go out and buy it. I mean, it's brilliant marketing, but that's just the way you're gonna do it. Marketing is the key thing. So like, what's one of the ways you market besides obviously getting people to wear the gears? Yeah,
people wear it. Probably at the moment, or even since I first started, the biggest has been Facebook and Instagram for sure. Just posting, and that's changed as well. When I first started, I was super naive, like, because I didn't know how to do anything. Anything I've done, I've just had to learn it and figure it out. Where luckily I kind of am quite inquisitive. If I think I can fix something or whatever, I'll go and do it. So I looked up best ways to market, but I used to just post the clothing. I'd be like, out now, we're doing this, we're doing that. But, you know, after a while, that people don't want to see that. You can only show so much product. So over the years, I've sort of honed it to a lot more. You'll see I put a lot of business quotes up. Especially lately, I put a lot of sort of like fail videos and just stuff to get people reacting. It's not the clothing all the time. And that builds a lot more of a following. I do some Facebook ads. It took a lot to figure that out. They're a nightmare. But finally sort of cracked that. And as soon as I cracked that, like I figured that out in March, just as we were going into lockdown. And then that month I did like 15K. And then I looked back the year before and I hadn't done 15K in 6 months. So it shows how like you've got to have some sort of paid marketing, I think, unless you've got Kanye West or something on your brand. Yeah.
Yeah, and the algorithm for things like Facebook keeps changing as well. So that means you've kind of got to, it's all working it out, trying to determine, okay, what's the best target audience? Is it male? Is it this age bracket between 20s to 30s? Do you have like a particular demographic that you hit? Like say, like your biggest base is in Christchurch or young people? Or are you even aware of those stats?
Yeah, I am. It's all around New Zealand. It's really big in the North Island.
That's cool.
As far as my sell-through. Yeah, so Auckland's massive, but obviously there's so many people there.
Yeah.
Waikato's massive. I get sales, just little things from, because Dills is in Foxton.
Yep.
I'll get randomly 3 or 4 sales from there, probably due to him only.
Yeah.
And just like weird little spots, but Waikato's real big for some reason. I get heaps from there. Christchurch, Invercargill is massive. Nelson, Blenheim. So yeah, all over the place. And a lot of repeat business too. Yeah, like I'd say probably 60% is people coming back, just buying the latest thing and that sort of thing. So, which is what you want. While also my Facebook ad, one of the ways I do it is a lookalike audience, which is basically takes all those people that already love the brand and are buying looking and goes to look for similar people. And that's how you get your new customers in. So it's a bit of it's a dance sort of, you know?
Yeah. But it's cool you've got loyal customers, bro. Did anything change during lockdown? Did you change anything in terms of your marketing model or what you're going to market? Like any, have you got any like Zerofux COVID-19 shit?
No, when that first started, I was like, I don't want to do that because I've always been real mindful of of cancel culture, you know, like, and I was like, I don't want to be seen as taking advantage of it and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, I'm real big with that. Same with the Black Lives Matter stuff, because I've seen not a lot, but a few New Zealand brands do it. And it's cool if you do it properly and you're giving money to a charity and that sort of stuff. But we really can't relate to that sort of stuff. I definitely can't. Like I grew up white Christchurch areas, you know, so I don't want to pretend I do. And with COVID, man, I still had a full-time job. So I wasn't struggling. And I didn't want to make money off that sort of stuff. I still have moments where I'm like, I should bring out a mask because everyone's doing it. But yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't sit well, so I just don't do it. Yeah. I've got my own mask that I printed and that's it. Yeah.
That's cool. Have you got it on you?
Man, no, I haven't. It's just a black mask and then it's got, actually, I'll show you. These are what I print for my neck tags, if you can see that. So
nice.
Basically I just heat press those onto the shirts. So it's basically that on both cheeks. Yeah, that's it. And I haven't even worn it because we don't need it down here. I don't catch the bus. If I need it, then I hope I don't need it. But if I do, then I got one. Yeah. So a guy hit me up Steve, he's a big supporter, and he said I should get the mask. And remember that dude that had Devastate on his face, the tattoo?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
I was going to bring out those. Yeah. And I looked into it and I was like, no, that's dumb. Like, it's not dumb, but I just don't, it doesn't suit. But it's a cool idea, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only time I really considered it, just to take the piss. Yeah.
I suppose I know as a creative person that I have heaps of ideas and then they end up on the cutting room floor. Yeah. I suppose that's the same for you. You must have like a million ideas in terms of what you want to print on a shirt. Is there stuff you print and then you're like, nah, that looks whack, and then toss it to the side?
I don't really print it. It's more when I do the mock-up. So I'll have a design that I think's awesome, and I'm I'm looking at it, go, yeah, it's cool. But then I put it onto a shirt, and I can't get the right coloured shirt. It doesn't look good on black. It doesn't look good on white. So yeah, I just scrap it. Or after a few days, especially like I'll be real hype about a design, thinking this is going to go off, and then I go back to it 3 days later and go, oh, what was I thinking? You know?
Yeah.
So doesn't happen often, but yeah, I always try and audit myself like that. I hate bringing stuff out and then people go, nah, it's whack. I brought out a shirt once that said the struggle's not real, and it was kind of getting a play at thinking, like, if you think positively, like, not everything is a struggle. But I guess a lot of people kind of took that as, because there are a lot of people struggling, they think, well, what, it is real, I'm telling you. And then, so I had like a couple of people go, oh, no, that's not it. So I took it down, and that's all so that's probably the one that I put out and was like, oh no, that is probably whack. It made sense to me. And even actually when I was typing I was explaining the shirt in the post, my Facebook post, and Camo MC was like, dude, if you need to explain it, you don't need to you shouldn't put it out. I was like, that's gold advice right there, really.
Yeah, true that.
If it doesn't hit straight away, then it's not worth it.
Yeah. So what do you sell the most of? Is it shirts, caps?
Nah, man, I do a lot of caps, or I did a lot of caps, but they don't sell that well, which is surprising because I would get them made and I would think, easy to sell, to ship, but they just don't sell as well as a t-shirt and hoodies. Winter hoodies go off. That's all I'm doing at the moment is hoodies and the odd tee. So yeah, and I think because they have Afterpay, people don't mind. They'll get hoodies because they are quite pricey. I mean, $80 isn't expensive for a general brand when you look at things like Huffer and that charging stupid money.
Yeah.
But when I first started selling, so the first after 2 years when I actually sold something, was a little bit of everything. But now it started to be a bit more seasonal, which is funny. So whether that's just me getting better at bringing things out at the right time, probably is. But yeah, a lot of hoodies, a lot of crew necks. I can't get any crew necks at the moment because my supply's out. And I'm just constantly getting hit up. Got any crew necks? So yeah, but hoodies, and I think coming into summer, it'll just be tees. Yeah.
So do you use the same supplier for everything? So the same supplier that provides the shirts, the caps, everything?
Yeah. Caps are all made overseas, made in China. It's the only thing I get made overseas just because the price is... I can't, nobody in New Zealand can compete with that. When I was only getting maybe 10 or 15 hats when I very first started, I could get them done in Auckland and they get sent down here and fine. But if I'm doing more than 50, which are normally 50 at a time, then I just go to China and then, like, a cap will cost me, man, in all realistic, $10, and it's a real nice hat. And then I don't sell them. It means I can sell them a lot cheaper for people too. So that's what I like too. I don't think we should be... I hate charging heaps for stuff that you could go to the Hallenstones and get the same quality, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, it's a business, right? So you have to be cautious that you don't overprice it, but then from a business sense, you need to be making money as well. So I suppose it's difficult to work out that balance.
So, if I can get and that's the hard thing because I've changed my pricing a lot. When I first started, tees were $34. But I wasn't using good. Oh, they were reasonable quality, but not what I'm using now. And then slowly I was like, look, I'm not really making enough to cover the business. It's not worth it, the time, especially because I'm making it myself. So I'm printing myself. I'm not just sending it off. So then I put them up a little bit. But every time I've done something like that, I've made sure the quality was better. I'd put a handwritten thank you note in there, which I do with every order, or just something to give more value, which I think is really important.
Yeah. That's cool, man.
But I'm kind of at the sweet spot now, really. Yeah, like now the pricing's pretty sweet. I can't see it going up anymore because if I wouldn't pay what I'm charging myself, then I'm not going to charge it. That's kind of the way I look at it.
That's a good motto to have, actually. Have you reached out to any of the big dudes like David Dallas and Sid and Scribe and all those guys? Are they aware of it?
So I had Yeah, man. Yeah. So, Scribe's got some stuff already. I've sent stuff to him. I got a hat here. This one here signed by Scribe, and that's part of the raffle because I got selected to go to Agenda in Las Vegas. It's like the massive trade show that all the big brands go to get seen. And so, he signed that, and he's always posting our stuff. Young Sid. I don't know if he goes by Young Sid anymore.
No, he goes Sid Diamond. Sid
Sid Diamond, yeah. He's had some stuff I sent to him in the early days. And yeah, no, not David Dallas, because see, all those big guys, they're on things like Federation and these big brands they've already got in there, and they've got the money that I don't have. Where, and in saying that, I want to support the people that are coming up too. You know,
for sure, man, for sure.
I'm coming up, so I want them to come up. So you know, where Camo's been on like maybe 3 years, and you know, it's been awesome. And I think people are more likely to see these guys day to day and look up to them than these big guys, if you know what I mean, sometimes.
Yeah. It's cool that you're based out of a little town like Timaru, bro. Like that's cool, because you would think that a clothing brand would be based out of Wellington or based out of Auckland, but it's cool that you're in Timaru, like a small little town. Yeah. You probably don't have the distractions.
Nah, not really, man. And the good thing is, like, I still work a full-time job, and it's 10 minutes home. So as soon as I finish work, I'm printing. So, you know, I don't have that hour commute like a lot of people. So it is really good. Like, I like a small town for those reasons. I miss a lot of stuff, like you can't get Uber Eats and just the general stuff. But overall lifestyle is really good though. Like, you know, like cheap houses or cheaper houses. You know, I get sick of seeing the same people all the time, but it's just something you have to live with.
It's funny because I know
everyone's business.
I know a lot of Aucklanders who don't even know where Timaru is. Like, I remember talking to a few. Probably. I mentioned I was talking to you, and they're like, "Oh, where's he from?" And I go, "Oh, he's living in Timaru." Is that near Napier?
Oh,
I'm like, bro, it's not even in the North Island, man. Yeah. But so it's amazing to me that so many people don't know where it is.
No, it's not actually that small. So we've got almost 50,000 people here. So it's not tiny like you would think, especially if you haven't heard of it. So, yeah, I mean, it's not tiny. But compared to Auckland, even Hamilton, Dunedin, it's small. You know,
because it's how far is the drive from Timaru to Christchurch?
2 hours.
2 hours.
So it's not far.
No. Do you go
We're
market?
in the sweet spot. 2 hours to Christchurch, 2 hours to Dunedin.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, that is the sweet spot. Do you go to Christchurch much to try and like market your stuff, like at gigs, at hip hop gigs or anything?
Nah, I never have. I went to one, which was run. It was kind of like I don't know what you'd call it, kind of like a hip hop day. I guess they had a bit of dancing and sort of stuff, but it wasn't worth my time. It was just, like the trip up there. I think I sold like one hat, and I'll tell you I'm not sure if you know. Do you know who Hoodie Time is?
Yeah, bro.
You know Hoodie Time, the rapper. Yeah. It was I sold one hat to him. Yeah, and that was it, because there was just where it was. I don't think anyone had any money. Like, they didn't expect to go out to be able to go and buy stuff. You know what I mean? Like, there was just not really. I've never looked into it. Like, I just feel as though my time's better spent marketing online. Yeah, I have talked with Camo a few times, like with gigs and that, but once COVID happened, it sort of, there's nothing happening really. Yeah.
I wonder if you could market it something like Pacifica or Polyfest or even the Hip Hop Summit. I wonder if
possibly could.
Yeah, you probably have to talk to the right people to see if it's plausible. Yeah,
I did look into the Foreign Rotary Nationals, because they have those here in Timaru.
Yeah.
And I thought that'd be perfect to have a stall. And they wanted like $700 for a day. I was like, I'm not paying that. There's no way I'm making that money back. You know, that's crazy.
Hell?
So I don't know if anyone does that. And maybe that's normal rate, but I'm not paying that. $700. Yeah. I don't make that sort of money.
Yeah. So what's the plans for the future?
And I might do all right.
What's the plans for the future in terms of the brand? Is there anything you haven't done that you want to do?
There's heaps. My main goal, to be honest, is to take it full time. Like, I hate working. Like, I have a cruisy job as well. Like, and it's a good job. I make good money. But, you know, it's hard when you've got something else that is everything to you, you know, apart from your family, your kids and that. This is it for, like, it's all I think about. It's all I do. And it's, you know, if I'm not printing, I'm thinking of something, I'm talking to someone. And it's been that long now that it's just ingrained. So, yeah, to take it full time is really key. That's my next thing. Yeah. Still have a lot to achieve. I want to get to a certain dollar figure. Not that that's everything, but that will allow me to have a lot more freedom. And I think the brand would take off if I had a lot more time. Will take off more.
Yeah, well, it's all about the marketing, and you have to be invested in the product 24/7. But then you got bills to pay as well. I mean, look, I'm the same. I wish I could do podcasting full time and be like Joe Rogan, but you've also got to be realistic with your goals, right? I think some people live in a bit of a delusional headspace. They just think, oh yeah, it's all great. It's all going to work out for me. It's all going to be instantaneous, and it's like, nah. Because you did a podcast.
It'd take years, man.
You did a podcast recently.
Yeah, I've still got one. So I've got one called the Zerofux Podcast, but I'm still kind of figuring out exactly what it is. So it's a little bit of business, a little bit of comedy, that sort of stuff. So I've done 2 episodes. One was just a welcome, and then one on haters, because we've had this troll for years with the brand, which has just been a nightmare. So I sort of spoke on that. And the next one, I don't know I'm thinking maybe something on community, but I've just had no time. It's all been printing and people's orders that are paying. That's what comes first. Yeah. Even though content's king, but I got to get there, I got to look after the customers. So that's what comes first. And that's all it's been lately.
So when you finish work and you come home and you start you start printing, obviously.
Yeah.
You spend the whole night printing, and then what? Do you send that, put that in a box, or send it out to all
pretty much
all the people
So I'll basically do the oldest first, obviously, makes sense. And I just print off the orders. So these are just ones for tonight. And then, print them off. If I don't have any already printed, normally I try to print them as I go, because I don't like having... The whole reason I started trying to print myself was I didn't want to have dead stock. I guess I wasn't confident enough that I would... Whatever I brought out, people would just buy it, sell out like most brands. They'll bring out 2 designs, sell them all, and buy more. I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to be able to just print. If it doesn't sell, then I can do something else. So I'll print those orders, and I just pack them as I go. So I'll print one, which is a little bit involved. Like, you have to spray it, then you have to print it. They spray it, heat press it, print it, heat press it, and then fold it, tag it.
How long does that take?
Put it in a bag. From one order, say just one shirt, might take me 10 minutes.
Okay, that's not
from
too
start
long.
to finish.
Yeah.
Nah, where it gets a bit time consuming is the bigger orders. So like a lot of orders I get are over sort of 150, because they take advantage of Afterpay. So it might be 3 hoodies. So then one order's all of a sudden taking 20 minutes and that sort of thing. But so I'll just come home and I'll print. It gets stressful as well. Like if I've got something on that Wednesday night I don't print because my daughters come for dinner, so that's off. So that's one night out. We have people coming through the house because it's on sale, so that's out sometimes. So it's just all a juggle.
Okay, so it's almost a 7-day job, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Yeah, it's definitely 7 days, no matter what. Because if I'm not printing something, I'm getting a design done, I'm posting on social, I'm doing something else. Plus now that I got this printer, I started doing some printing for other brands, which I'm going to start cutting down because it's starting to affect the time frame on my orders. But there's another brand that I actually helped start a little bit in Christchurch called Beast Within. It's a gym brand, and I've done some stuff for them, but that's 2 nights gone that I can't do my own brand. And that's really so there's extra things as well that I've sort of taken on, probably bitten off too much at times. Easy to do when you see the dollar signs. But after a while, it doesn't become worth it. Where I have to learn, and I'm still learning, is my time compared to the dollar figure that's coming in, So I could spend 5 hours on something and I've charged whatever, probably made nothing, just stress myself out. But I've made them happy, which is easy to do, try and be a yes man.
Yeah, for sure. But you don't want to compromise your time and quality as well, right? So it comes back to the whole balance
and that's
thing.
what I've realized. Yeah,
comes back to the whole balance
you've
thing.
got to. If I'm helping other people, which I always do, like I have that many brands come and ask me things and all that sort of stuff, which is sweet. But lately it gets to the point where it's taking away a little bit from the quality of my stuff, and that's the most important.
Yeah, for sure. How much has the Broke Artist podcast changed with the brand? Because I know you market a lot of stuff on there and you do promotional stuff on there. Have a lot of people been exposed to the brand through that podcast?
Yeah, I think so. Like subconsciously, like I don't get a lot of people hitting me up saying, "Oh, I saw it on here," or like they have a discount code, which I didn't see the last one, so I'm not actually sure if Ryan's still pushing it, which is sweet. But when we first sort of hooked up, we were pushing it pretty hard because he wasn't doing his clothing and all that sort of stuff, and I was getting the odd through, like it would come through with the discount code and that sort of stuff. But I think in a whole, especially in the hip hop world, people are seeing it. Like I don't expect, like pure example, say I advertised with you, I don't expect people to come and buy all the time because a lot of it is just being seen, and they say, "I've seen that somewhere," and it's just a slow build. So it very rarely I'll give clothing to someone, even a big name, and just get orders. The only person that happens with is the Hood Brothers. If I give them stuff, because they got such a, like, the Hood Brothers YouTubers? Like, I'm not sure if you've heard of them.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
I've done some stuff with them, and if I'm not getting sales, I'm getting followers, and I don't do a lot with them because they're busy and they do a lot. But every time I have, they've got that loyal following. So, but yeah, generally it's just always being seen. Same with the rappers and that. I don't get people coming and buying just because Camo had it, but they'll like all my posts and all that stuff, and it's all just a community, and that's what's important. I'm not looking to sell to every single person.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, I think even with me with this podcast, I think I have followers. As to how many of them actually even listen to one or watch one, I have no idea, but it's one of those things that you just build up.
Really common then. Real common. But what I've found lately as well, like, because as I was trying to work out the Instagram and all that sort of stuff, I would do courses that would say, hey, you need to follow as many people as you can from a similar brand. So I would go to, let's say, Rebel 8, and I'd follow all their followers because I know they're aligned. They like my brand. The problem with that is when you're following all these people, they might follow you back, but none of them are buying anything. So people, I guess it's that old story. You're better to have 2,000 engaged followers than 1 million that aren't buying or aren't really interested. They're just vanity metrics, basically, But what I've found lately is people have been sending me, how I know I'm getting a bit more engaged following is people are sending me designs. They're sending me memes that they think I would like to post. They go, this is Zerofux, hard post. You might want this, so they're actually reaching out, which took ages to get. Like, it feels like no one gives a shit. It's just you putting stuff out, and nobody giving anything back. But eventually, that slowly starts to happen. And you're like, oh, right, I'm reaching someone here, they're vibing with the brand or vibing with what we're doing. So we're becoming more of a community, and that's what sells.
Yeah. And I think
it's fun too.
And I think a lot of people get so caught up in the numbers and how many likes and things you get where it's like, well, it's not necessarily always about that. It's about the brand itself or the quality or what you're selling. Is it engaging? Yeah. But it's easy to get trapped in that mindset, particularly with social media.
Oh, I did, man. Like even now, like I want to get to 10K so I can get the swipe up and send everyone to my website and all that. But in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter. Unless they're all engaged and all buying, then it matters. But, probably 30% of the people that follow you are actually, engaged followers, I would think. Unless you're, like someone like Joe Rogan or the Hood Brothers or someone that they're really out there personalities, which a brand isn't. It's hard to get that because I'm not really the face of it all the time like a lot of brands are. Like I'm not on there going, hey guys, swipe up.
Look at me.
Deals on, whatever. Like I don't do that because I'm not comfortable in front of the camera. Where a lot of these other influencers and that they are. So that's why they've got this big following because people relate to them.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, I'm similar to you. I don't really have my face on a lot of stuff. It's usually about the guest, but I'm trying to force myself to do it more. I feel like a bit of a narcissist sometimes when I do that.
You kind of from what I understand, and what I've been reading is these days you have to. I've even seen big brands, like I keep mentioning Rebel 8, purely just because they were a big influence. Josh, who owns that, he started a podcast and he was real behind the scenes, shy, didn't want to know about it. It wasn't about him, it was about the brand, but he's doing videos and all that. So you can see these other brands, and if they're doing it, you know that that's what people want. They want to see behind the scenes because we're so involved in everyone now, because I can see you post something, I can see your living room. Oh shit, how often would you see that of someone in my living room, or I can see Joe Rogan's backyard, or we're so close now because of the internet. So things have just changed, where before the internet and websites, you had to go to a shop and you had no idea who had anything to do with it. You don't know who designed it. You don't know who, So I'm glad I didn't start a brand back then, I guess.
Yeah. Would you ever do like posters?
There's no feeling.
Like posters, I suppose.
Posters, as far as
like, you could do your own Zerofux posters.
Oh, like posters to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have looked into it, man. Like, I got this one here that I've had printed off.
Oh, nice.
The Donald Trump one.
Yeah,
and I thought about like this sort of thing. I got some others to sell, but I haven't really looked hard into it. There's a brand in Aussie called Shock Mansion. They have a website that does heaps of random sort of posts and that, but they have a brand and they sell them on there, and you can buy them framed and all that. So maybe, but it's easy to try and do too many things at once.
Yeah, well, you really need to hire someone to do that, eh? But then you need to be making the awesome income to make it plausible.
Yeah. So the first stage is to be able to pay myself.
Yeah. I mean, I've found even with this podcast that people would come in to do the show and they were like, you're doing it all by yourself. I'm like, yeah, man. They thought I had like a sound guy or a video guy. I'm like, nah. All on my own, man.
Yeah. I think the same here too, man. Like I'll get messages going, how come my order hasn't come, and it's been like 2 days or something like that, which is fine. That's what we're used to. We're used to this instant sort of stuff, Our lead time, for example, like because it is just me doing everything, like no one else does a single thing. Purely because I don't have anyone. Like in Timaru, like I don't have a lot of mates, and that, as I said, I'm from Christchurch. I got my wife, my 2 daughters, and that's about it, really. And I kind of like it like that because I don't particularly like people in general, if you know what I mean, unless they're like real close circle. But yeah, it leads me to being sort of overwhelmed and that sort of stuff. So I think they think, I've probably got some big production thing as well. But yeah, it's not. It's just one dude, same as you, figuring it out, trying to get everything else quick. And our lead time, I think I was going to say, is 10 to 14 working days because of that. But your item's getting hand printed by one person. It's not in a factory. It's getting tagged. It's getting pressed and bagged by one person. It's a lot more special than mass production overseas, I think, anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think it's I think Kiwis need to support New Zealand brands more, I think. Yeah. I think I see
bits and pieces of it, but not a lot. There's a lot of that people like, they don't like to see people succeeding in that. They'd rather just support
tall poppy syndrome.
Rihanna. Yeah. Happens a lot, man. And I see it you see it everywhere. Even like Israel Adesanya, that sort of stuff. The dude's an absolute legend, but people will still find a way to bring him down, like Kiwis. It's like, what are you up to? All Blacks, But that's just, I don't know if that happens everywhere. I think it's worse here.
Yeah. I think it's definitely a New Zealand thing, trying to stay humble or whatever you want to call it. But I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like that we get influenced a lot by America, I find, very easily, very, very easily. I mean, I've been to America. It's nothing like here. Even the language, even though you're talking, Americans don't talk the same as Kiwis.
No, like me and my wife, we got married in Vegas, and you did right. It's like another world. It's like another planet. Really, it's that different. Yeah, and people, they're not the same at all. Like I actually think we're probably kind of unique in the way we act. But I think a lot of that is kind of negative too. Like the shit I hear on the news and the bringing everyone down, like the government and all that. It's like, I don't know. Why waste your energy? It makes me tired listening to it. I don't know how people listen to like Talkback and that all the time, because God, it's just, you hear more negativity than anything these days.
Oh, for sure.
And especially with people trying to do something well, trying to do something different. Like starting a clothing brand is not easy. Starting a podcast, it ain't easy, and you're putting yourself out there. And I think a lot of these people are like, how can they do that? Oh, it's probably easier for me to just shit on them than try and do something positive for myself, you know? And it doesn't feel natural to go, hey, man, well done. That was really, you're doing it really well. Like, that's crazy, you know? Because we're not used to that.
Well, yeah. I think most people who do that, I mean, the people that I know who do that are pretty much nobodies. They don't really do anything. You know, they live pay week to pay week, and they don't want to get outside of their comfort zone. But anyone who takes a risk, I think, I've got a lot of respect for. You know, I've got a great appreciation for it.
Yeah, the prime thing, even with that, was like when Ryan from Brocada started doing his clothing, I messaged him because he was sort of promoting it, and I said, "Oh man, like if you want to just promote yours and not Zerofux, that's cool because you know you want to do your own thing." And he was like, "Nah, I want to do both." And I was like, "Damn, that's sweet." Like, you know, he didn't have to do that. He could all out just go broke artist, look at my clothing, but to have both. And I was like, I just felt that was really supportive of what I was trying to do as well. And I think that's the more the stuff we should try and see instead of go like he could have just messaged me, guy, like I'm done with you because I got my own thing going. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of refreshing to hear that sort of thing.
That might be the American in him. No, he's a really good guy, Ryan. Yeah. Like I've got a lot of admiration and respect for that guy. I mean, if I'm ever having a day where I'm like, I'm so over this, I don't want to do it anymore, I can just listen to him, watch one of his podcasts or see one of his posts or something, and it motivates me because he is a grinder. That guy, he hustles.
That's it. Like I see him getting up at 4 to go. What is he, like a glass cutter or something like that?
I think so.
And then he works all day till whatever 4. He's got a family, and then he does the podcast. It's like, dude, where's your energy come from?
And he does music and stuff as well. Yeah, I don't know where he gets it, man. He's a machine, man. He's full on
underrated,
machine.
Though. Yeah, underrated. As I think they either both him and Anime deserve a lot more than they get, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
For a lot of other people as well, like that podcast in general, like he won't be getting much out of it apart from putting everyone else on, you know, which is awesome to see.
Well, I think he does it for the love of it. That's really why he does it. Yeah. And you have to love what you do. Yeah. Like, I mean, you couldn't do your clothing label if you hated it.
Nah. Oh, absolutely not. Nah. And that's the thing. I think it's really important to find something that you do love doing, because I have this thing. I'm really scared of regret. So I get this thing. I don't want to get to the point where I'm 50 or 60 and be like, I wish I'd done that, or I wish I'd tried that. Even if I tried it and it didn't work, at least I gave it a go. You know, like I've seen some of my family and my mum and dad and that sort of thing just maybe not take risks because it's different generation. You know, they didn't have what we have to explore and see what everyone else is doing. But I just don't want to. Yeah, I'm really scared of being 60, 70 in a housing corp flat on the pension, you know, and that motivates me, I think. You know?
For sure, man. I am exactly the same. I don't want to get to the end of my life and have nothing to show for it, you know. And it's not necessarily even about the whole positions thing, but it's about, you know, just knowing that you did something, you put yourself out there and you did this, and this.
Yeah. Like even just thinking about it, it makes me nervous. Like I feel nervous thinking that could happen, you know? So, which I think is a good thing. It's a good thing, man. Like, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't want to look back on the deathbed and just be like, what if? It's just ingrained. I don't know why. It's just the way it is. Yeah.
But it's a good thing to have, man. Motivation, drive, ambition. I
think so. Yeah.
I find if I hang around too many people that are the opposite of that, I start to subconsciously be affected by it. So I try to avoid that at all costs.
Yeah.
Being around positive people.
Same. Yeah. And that's what I sort of, it's funny though, the positive people, I have more positive friends that I've met on like through the internet, like Camo, Ryan, and then this group of people that are all positive. If you're having a bad day, you message and they'll be like, nah, it's all good. Then I do physically, if you know what I mean, like I don't have that sort of stuff around me. So more negative, if anything. Like the people at work, I had a person work for me and they were just, everything was a nightmare. A customer would come in and he'd be like, oh, here we go. Gosh, just, and the energy, you feel it and it drains you, and the dramas. And it's, when you get home, I think we do feed off that, you know what I mean? Like, you got to surround yourself with positive people, and you can do it even if they're not around you. And that's something that I've realized, like even just a Facebook message to someone, and as like they go, nah, it's all good, you've got this, it's all you need, but just someone to actually believe in you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's interesting because if you think of like someone who's on the benefit compared to say some massive as CEOs on 4 million or 30 million or something, you notice that those two worlds never collide.
And not at all.
Unless their family or something, those worlds don't collide. And it's primarily because those two people have a completely different set of values in terms of their motivation and drive, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, man. And I think the way I grew up was like I had, we weren't poor, but my mum was an alcoholic, like chronic alcoholic, and my dad wasn't really around. And I went one way, so I was like, I'm gonna go the other way. Like I can't go that way. But I think what I see majority of the time, most of the time, people, you're going to go the other way and go, well, my parents are like that, so now I'm like that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And that's really common. But luckily, for some reason, for whatever reason, I don't know why, in my brain, I was like, I've got to do something different because I can't end up like that. So I think that's a lot of it too. Like people think I'm hopeless because my family or where I come from is hopeless, but it's not like that. You know what I mean? Like you can do anything you really want to do, but it's just figuring it out and trying to get out of that fucking lull of just negativity and poor me, and go, no, forget this. Like I can do whatever I want to do. How am I going to do it? Yeah.
And it can be a society thing as well, right? A product of your environment, so to speak. So if that's all you see, then it can be very difficult to try and escape that world, I find.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And I think like I must have come across somewhere to get this thing in my mind that I wanted to do something different. But yeah, you're right. There's people that's all they know and they don't go anywhere else. They don't see anything else. They don't travel. So that's it. The whole family's on the benefit. Well, that must be what I go and do. Or I go to the meatworks. Nothing wrong with meatworks, but what I mean is like trying to start a business or achieve higher than that. So I'm just going to follow in their steps and I'm going to do that. I'm going to retire. And but there's something, and if they don't see anything else or experience anything else, that's it. And it's not their fault, in some ways.
Yeah, that's why I try to encourage everyone, man. I'm like, you need to keep a good network of people and venture outside of your area. I know a lot of people back in the hood that are still in the hood. And I'm like, like I moved out of West Auckland 5 years ago now. And I go back there sometimes and I see some of my friends and I'm like, you guys are in the exact same position you were 5 years ago, still doing the same thing day in, day out. And I'm just like, man, I just don't know how you do that.
That's that ball of regret that makes you feel nervous. Just being like that, man. Like it just, I don't know, I guess they're comfortable maybe. They're and maybe even afraid of trying something different,
It's
and
easier
because they're surrounded by the people that do the same thing every day and they're all just get home from work, they have spots and then they watch TV and then they go to bed, whatever. But that's it. They don't do anything different and they're around the same people all the time and they're not reaching out to try and learn or listen to a podcast about something they're interested in to maybe spark an idea, because they're just doing that same thing. Yeah.
Man, this is deep stuff, bro.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, but I think like a lot of it, like it's important though. Like I think people, when if I didn't see other brands and I'm not really talking New Zealand brands because I can't really think of any that actually made it without big money, like iLab and that sort of stuff. But I'm talking like humble brands overseas, and anyone, even just anyone doing something massive. If you haven't seen that it's possible, then it's not possible in your mind. But like the thing is, it is possible. But it's just slow. It takes time. You need patience, and that's one thing that I never had, and I've had to learn it. I know that I'm not going to blow up overnight, and I don't want to either, because most things that blow up overnight, they only last, short term. But it's there'll be days where I don't get any sales, and I have to remind myself, it's all good. Keep pushing forward, and I think that's the important thing. Just keep moving.
For sure, every day is not going to be great, and you gotta press on. For every day that's bad, there's probably a day following that's good. And I think a lot of people, they think, New Zealand, it's too small, you can't be a success here. But we've proven time and time again, we rise to the occasion as the underdogs. The All Blacks, pretty much the best sports team in the world. Israel Adesanya, the City Kickboxing, they're making moves on the world stage. Even like visual effects companies like Weta, it's there's so many different areas where we rise to the occasion despite having such a small population. And even with COVID, the world's looking at us and how we're handling it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think with the internet, it's even easier now,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I get people listening to my podcast who aren't even from New Zealand.
Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of cool. They get to see an insight of how we think and how our minds tick. So yeah, that's really cool. And I mean, and you got to wonder how these people find these things. Like, I didn't get a lot of overseas orders, but I've had some from the States. I had Capadonna from Wu-Tang just randomly message me going, your shirt's fire. Do you want to send us some? I mean, how the hell does that happen? And I was like, Pink's DJ was like, hit me up. Kid Cut Up, his name is, and was like, shit's awesome. I was like, what the hell? I was like, so with the internet, people can just find you, just some little tiny brand or podcast or musician, and sparks things, things can happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's a good place to wrap up, my bro. So if anyone wants to follow
all
you,
good.
Where's the best social media pages to go to?
So you can go, Facebook, it's just at Zerofux, Zerofux. And I get way more engagement on Facebook. I reply to everything. Anyone writes anything, if you message me, I'll reply back no matter what. If you just want to yarn, I'll just yarn. I don't care. Because it's a community. I don't think I'm better than anyone just because I make some clothes, So yeah, hit me up, say hi. Instagram is at Zerofux Clothing Co. So so it's the same, but just Clothing Co. Check us a follow. Still trying to get to that 10K to swipe up. But yeah, I post all sorts of stuff, funny memes, quotes, but cool quotes, not real cheesy ones. Come check us out and say hi.
And what's your website? Because you have a website as well.
Yeah, zerofux.co.nz is the website.
Nice. Yeah. Sweet, bro. Well, hey, I'm glad that I finally got to chat with you, because we've had a few chats online, and I wanted to tee this up because you're the man, bro.
Yeah,
I admire what you do.
No, it's good. Thanks. Good to have a clothing brand on, and I hope you have some more because I want to see other brands come up. It's not all about me, and no one's competition to everyone. Like, just help everyone out. So it'd be good to see. Yeah,
well, I've thought about doing maybe a Kiwi Talks like clothing brand or some merchandise or something at some point. So if I do that, bro, I'll definitely be hollering at you for some advice, man.
Yeah, do that. Easy. No problem. Sounds good.
Cool, man. All right. Well, that's the show, everyone. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe. And until next time, stay safe.